Welcome to day 2 of a year in the life of an amateur poker player. I didn't play today, and yes, I probably should have. As I mentioned yesterday, I am on the bubble with qualifying for the top 25 tournament of one of the poker leagues I play in. I'm probably going to play tomorrow, though. Today, I was reflecting on something that happened during the tournament I played yesterday. It raises the question, in poker, do the ends justify the means? In other words, does a player right when he makes a bad call but ends up winning the hand? Here's what happened. I'm in the big blind with suited connectors. Blinds are 50 and 100. First act raises up to 300, and then the very next player re-raises to 600. Folds around to the small blind who calls the 600. I fold because I see what's about to happen. First act now re-pops to 4,000, and the re-raiser shoves all in. The small blind, who had just called the 3-bet, now faces another re-raise and an all-in ahead of him, but he calls again. The initial raiser, who has both of the other players covered, now moves all in himself, and the small blind calls again. Before the cards are even turned over, the initial raiser says, "Let's see who didn't belong in this hand." I'm thinking the same thing. With all of this pre-flop re-raising, there has to be only 2 possible hands. Pocket aces or pocket kings. It's doubtful that all 3 players are holding one of these 2 hands. The initial raiser turns over his kings. The re-raiser shows ace queen, and the guy who was just calling turns over pocket tens. Cards are dealt out, and sure enough, the river comes 10, paying off the caller. He then announces, "I did belong in the hand. Don't tell me how to play. I'm a much better poker player than you." The original raiser says, "You must have known I had aces or kings," to which the winner of their hand replies, "My tens were better." Now, 2 things here. First, something I find myself guilty of a lot. When someone makes a bad call, no need to point it out. Why teach your competition? He just called a bet. He'll lose 80% of the time. Let him keep on doing it and get paid off next time. But as I said, I'm guilty of it too. Emotions get the best of all of us sometimes when we take a bad beat. Second, if you do win with a bad beat, be humble. Of course, the problem in this situation is the guy doesn't recognize how much of a bad beat it was. He saw pocket pairs and thought it was a great hand. But with 2 other players who keep re-popping each other, you have to be able to recognize that your tens are beat. He didn't. He won the hand, and he thinks he won because he's a better player. Poker is a game of both skill and luck. Yes, skill is more important, and over time will win out, but there is luck involved. My problem is dealing with players who win by luck, but think it proves they are the better player. Winning a hand that you should never have called does not make you a good player, only a lucky one. In poker, the ends don't justify the means.